Now let's work on displaying the balances for the exchange, and also work on the deposit and withdraw feature. So essentially, we're going to create a new component here, or we'll fill this one in that is called balances, and we'll show the current balances, and we'll also allow people to deposit and withdraw funds from the exchange. All right, this is all behavior that we built out in the smart contract, but we're going to wire up the client side application to make that work. So we'll go to let's see here, the content section, and we're going to create a new component that replaces this. All right, we'll just go ahead and call this content. We'll call this balance. All right, we need to actually create it. We haven't done that yet, but we'll go ahead and import it. Say import balance. All right, and I'll create a new file in this same directory called balance. And I'm just going to paste in some boilerplate code to get this started like this. There we go. So this looks really familiar, just like we did when we started our other components, like the nav bar and such. So here's a new component called balance, right? Balance. We have the title here. We have a empty map state to props function that we can fill in. We've imported connect and react and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see that on our page here. All right, here's balance. And we want to fill this in. So the first thing we want to do is actually load all the balances from the blockchain, okay? And what we'll do is we want to load the token balances and also the Ether balances. So remember, we can say exchange. We can basically read the balances for Ether and also tokens. We can see balance of, right? Tokens. Pass in the Ether address and pass in the token address. And then we can also read the balance out of the current account just for regular Ether outside the exchange. And we can also read the token balance outside the exchange directly from the token smart contract. Okay, so I'll show you how to do all that. So first, let's kind of connect this before we write it. We'll have a load blockchain data function inside here, just like we did in the content section and also the app section. All right, I'll just actually copy this. So I'll say component will mount load blockchain data, and we don't need to pass this in. We'll just say, let's do it this way. So load blockchain data. Let's just kill this. All right. And then load blockchain data for us will look like load balances. So we'll kill this and say await load balances. This is a new function that we're going to create inside of the interactions file. We haven't created this just yet. All right. We'll actually just we'll go ahead and import this. Import load balances from store interactions. We haven't created it yet. We're going to do that in a second. So I want to pass a few items into this. We want dispatch. All right, we want Web3. We want exchange, token, and account. Because we're going to read the Ether balance of the current account with Web3. We want to read the token balance and the Ether balance on the exchange smart contract directly from the smart contract. And we want the token, also, we want to read the token balance from the token smart contract. And then we need the current account to fetch the balance. So we'll say token. Let's just do it in order. All right, let's do this. Boom. All right, now we need to pull in some of these into our file with selectors. So let's do this. We'll say import. And we'll say, we need exchange, token. So we need these. I'll just do this. All right, and then we'll say selector from store selectors. All right, and then we will use the map state props function to fetch those out. All right, we'll do it like this. We'll just say, boom. account, exchange, token, web3. We import the selectors. We call them here. I'll give you some space so you can see that just in case. All right. Let's go back to our browser and see if there's an issue. So load balances is not exported from store interactions. So let's go ahead and define it. So I'll create the load balances function down here like this. We'll basically, all right, here's a new function. So load balances. It'll be async. It'll accept all those arguments that we just passed in. All right, so let's relook at the browser. So token selector is not exported from store selectors. All right, so I don't think we've created the token selector yet. Let's look. No, we don't have a token selector yet. So we have an exchange selector. All right, so we can just create a token selector just like we did that. All right, so below exchange, below token. Boom, exchange. We'll just change that to token. And we'll use T. All right, so try that. All right, so Web3 selector is also not exported, so we can do Web3 in a very similar way. I'll just create a new Web3 selector like this. Basically, just check for the Web3 connection from the state. We'll just say, boom. So Web3 equals, dig into state, Web3 connection. And we'll say Web3 selector equals create selector, Web3, and then we'll return it. Just like that. All right. So now let's reload the page. And all right, no issues. Let's check the console. If it'll open. Uh-oh, we did see an issue. Let's go back to Chrome. All right, so can I read property dispatch of undefined? All right, so we're not passing in props correctly. So yeah, my fault. We need to do that like this. Basically, we'll just pass in, my bad, props, I think is just available here like this. So we could just say this.props. Sorry, guys. All right. So let's try to refresh the page. All right, no issues there. Yeah, all good. So we can call this load balances function to actually load the balances from the blockchain. The first thing that we'll do is fetch the Ether balance, okay? And we can do that with Web3 just like this. Basically, we'll just say Ether balance equals await Web3 ETH.get balance for this account that we pass in. That's from the Web3 methods. And then we want to dispatch a Redux action that says Ether balance is loaded. Same thing for the token balance. You want to do it like this. All right. So basically, we get token methods balance of token account. And that's directly on the token smart contract itself. All right. And then we dispatch a Redux action that says that that's loaded. Same thing for Ether. We want to, check the exchange smart contract. So let me clarify. This is the Ether balance in the wallet. So this is the token balance in the wallet. So we check the Ether balance with Web3, check the token balance with Web3. Now we want to check the Ether balance in the exchange. So exchange Ether balance equals exchange methods balance of the Ether address, which we need to import. And then we dispatch that, right? And now we want to check for the token balance of Web3 on the exchange. We do that like this. So that uses the exchange smart contract, all right? So token options address is how we fetch the token address from the token smart contract like this. All right, and then we say call. And exchange, we dispatch the Redux action, which we'll need to define these. All right. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then what we want to do is just tell Redux that all the balances have been loaded. All right, boom, like this. All balances loaded. So we'll define these from... we'll define these in the actions. We'll go ahead and import them now so that we don't forget to later. Go to the top here and import these like this. Let's use commas. Tab this over. All right. So we'll go to actions. And I will create new actions for this. We're going to create an action for basically every balance that was loaded. So I'm just going to put a slew of new actions in like this. First, we'll do one for the ether balance. Give you some space so that you can see. All right, so the ether balance is loaded. So we just trigger an action like this, and then we'll do the same thing for token balance loaded. All right. Then we'll do one for the exchange ether balance. All right. And then we'll also do one for the exchange token balance. And then we'll also do one for all the balances that have loaded. And then while we're here, we're going to also create one that triggers anytime a balance is currently loading. All right. So that should be all of the new selectors that we need. Not selectors, excuse me, actions. Okay, so that was a lot, but now let's create selectors for this as well. All right. What we'll do is create a selector to see if the token balance is loaded. Go to the bottom of our file. This file's getting pretty big, sorry. But let's just give you some space that you can see. You could always break this out into more files if you want to, but I'm just going to leave it here because it's easier to find stuff. All right, so balance is loading. We're just going to check to see if that flag is true. And that's all we're going to select for now is that, are the balances loading, right? If they are, by default, we want them to be loading. Okay, so let's go to our Redux store. So go to reducers. So let's go to the reducers so we can update the Redux store. And we're going to basically handle all these new actions, right? Whenever we're loading up balances, okay? So let's do one like this. We'll just say, where do I want to do this? I guess we can do it down here below the above the default below. This is getting kind of big. Like I said, you could have multiple reducers if you wanted to. This is getting kind of unreadable. I'm just going to leave it all in one place so that you guys can see everything explicitly. We'll say case balances loading. All right, I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to update the state like this. All right. Same thing for balances loaded. All right. Okay, and I'm also going to do the same thing for the exchange token balances and the exchange ether balances. So I'll do it like this. Boom. So exchange ether balance loaded, exchange token balance loaded. And that's all we need for the exchange. So we want to put the ether balance loaded in the different reducer. We're going to put that in the Web3 reducer because that's, its concern. It's not part of the exchange. All right. So do like this. We'll handle ether balance loaded here, and we'll put the balance inside, Web3. And same thing for token. Whenever the token balance is loaded, we want to handle that inside the tokens reducer because that's, a concern of the token. So token balance loaded goes in here. All right. And we just set the balance. All right. Now I want to go back to the selectors and actually create a selector to fetch the balance amount from state. Okay. So I'll create a token balance selector, or let's do ether balance first. Say const ether balance equals state. All right, and then I'll say get state exchange dot balance is loading, and then true. Export const balance is loading. Basically, just do it like this. And then inside of here, what we want to do is load the ether balance. And then pass a function, balance. Okay. Oops, sorry. I can't type today, guys. And we return the balance. Okay. So that's how that works. But I want to do a little more. I don't want to just return the raw balance here, right? Because remember, this is going to give the balance in like the way amount for ether. I want to convert it to like a readable amount, and I also want to round it. Like if it's, you know, got 10 decimal places behind it or something like that, I don't want to show that in the UI. It's going to get too messy for the user, okay? So I'm going to create a helper to format it like this. So I'll basically just take the amount and I will convert it to ether with this ether helper, and then I'm going to round it. So I'll create the helper like this. All right, so we'll call it format balance. We'll convert it to ether, and then we'll round it to 2 decimal places. So we can refactor this. I could say const precision equals 100. All right, and then say, 2 decimal places. All right, if you want to see it that way. Now, I'll go back into the selectors, and I'll import that. Say format balance. All right, and then I'll call format balance here. All right, so that's how we get our ether balance. I'm going to do the same thing for the token balance like this. Boom. Token balance state token.balance, and we'll default to 0 if it's not there. And we're going to actually log that out. So, sorry, guys, I just realized I did something really dumb here. I did balance is loading twice. Sorry, guys. That's what this should look like. Ether balance equals state, get state, web3 balance 0. Yeah, my apologies. I didn't mean to throw you off too much. That's what that should look like. These should be up to date. All right, now we want to do the same thing for the exchange ether balance. Just paste this in. So exchange ether balance equals state, get state, exchange ether balance or 0, exchange ether balance, balance, format balance. All right, exchange token balance. All right, same thing. So we've got all these listed. And that should be everything we need to fetch the balances and add them to the component. All right, so there's a lot. Let's go back to here. I'll add the new selectors here and add the add these to our props. All right, like this. So we need balances loading. We need all these. All right, we just created these. All right, and I will add them here. All right, we'll use commas. Tab this over. Okay. Now let's just log all this out of the console. This is going to be pretty crazy, but this should work. So log. All right, let's just see what happens. Might have broken something, but we're going to find out soon enough. All right, so ether balance selector is not exported from store selectors. Let's just see what's going on there. Let's see here, ether balance selector. All right, we might have misspelled something. Let's go back and see. Balance, ether balance selector. All right, sorry, looks like I had a little syntax error here in my helper. Sorry. Sometimes it's difficult to see issues when I'm explaining things at the same time. All right, so thanks for bearing with me. I'll refresh this. All right, so format balance is not exported. All right, no, it's up. So this is actually a misleading error. It's not, this isn't actually correct. I think this is just a weird way of how it's compiling. So it thinks that this is missing, but it's not. What's actually the problem is we need to import ether address. We need to import, let's see here, the ether address. Okay. So whenever we're loading the balances, we don't have this. All right. So let's import it like this. We'll just say import ether address from helpers. And I think that was breaking first, but we were seeing the error in this file. Or sorry, this file. Doesn't make any sense, but let's just see what happened. All right, so format balance is not exported from helpers. All right, so it's still saying that it can't find format balance. So what's going on here? let's see here, helpers, format balance. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna take it out of here for now. I don't want to get hung up on this all day. Let's just put it inside the selectors file, and maybe we'll come back later and fix this. So say to do, move me to helpers file. All right, so let's do that, and we'll take it out of here. We'll fix that later. All right, so now all these should still have format balance, and hopefully that'll work. All right, cool. So I think we're still logging this info to the console. Let's go to balance and see. Yeah, console log. All right, let's open the console and see. Oops, sorry. Refresh that. Open the console and see what was logged. All right, there we go. The account balance is loading as false. Here's the ether balance formatted. Here's the exchange ether balance. Yeah, we got all kinds of good info inside here. Token balance. Yeah, awesome. So now we can fill all that data into this component here. All right, in order to fill out the balances on the page, let's first take out this console logging statement. All right. And what I'm going to do is, basically remember a bunch of content here inside the card body. But I want to create a new function to do that, just like we did in our other components, because we want to hide it if the balances are still loading. All right. So I'm going to create a new function called showForm. So we'll just do like this, const showForm. Say showForm. It's going to equal this function. It's going to take props. And also, we only want to show this form if in certain circumstances. Basically, we want to only do it if the balances have loaded, okay? So we can check to see if the balances are loaded like this. We'll basically create a new function here that says, balance is loading. We use this selector, all right? And we'll just return that. But we'll also say show form is equal to bang balance is loading. All right, so you only want to show it if the balances aren't loading. All right, so we'll say, if show form, then we call the show form function. And if not, then we show the spinner. All right, so we want to pull the spinner in as well. So let's go to the top and import the spinner. Okay. All right, so let's go back to our page. See, there's no issues here. Check the console. Everything looks good. All right. Now let's actually put some markup inside here. So this is going to be a tabbed component, just like these my transactions component right here. Okay. And basically we're going to have two tabs, one for the deposit page and one for the withdrawal page. So that will allow you to make deposits and withdraw funds as well. And we'll show all the balances like this. So we're going to use tabs again from this React Bootstrap library. I'm going to go ahead and just sketch out some tabs like this. We'll just say show form, boom. All right. And that will give us the starting point. So tabs is not defined. All right, let's import them. So this was in my transactions as well. So I'll just copy that. All right. All right. All right, there we go. See a deposit and withdraw tab. Boom, boom. Awesome. So let's go inside of here, and I want to pull some data in from props. I want to get all the balances right here. So we'll do that like this. Say ether balance, token balance, exchange ether balance, and exchange token balance. And I basically just want to create a table that shows all that information, right? So I'll do the first one like this. I'll just paste it in and say table. And this is basically going to just have a header that says token, wallet, and exchange. And it's going to show you how much you have for each of those. How much tokens you have for each token. Like, so this is going to say DApp, right? And then the wallet, and then the exchange. Okay. or it's going to say ether, depending on, what we are showing. So I'll show you the table body. All right. So the token's going to be ether. The balance you have in your wallet is going to be your ether balance. All right. The balance you have on the exchange is going to be the exchange ether balance. All right. So let's do it like this. Let's save this, refresh the page. Boom, there we go. So here's the token, ETH, right? You have 96, and the exchange has 90.71. Awesome. Very cool. So let's keep filling this out. We'll make another table just below that basically looks like this. Let's show the token balance. So DApp token balance and exchange token balance. All right. I'm going to add a little space here. All right, we'll save this. Boom. So DApp, that's how many DApp tokens you have, and that's how many are on the exchange. Awesome. Lastly, we're going to do this for the other tab. So doing the withdrawal tab, we'll show the amounts again. This is going to be a little repetitive, so you feel free to refactor this if you want to, but I'm just going to basically use the same thing twice. I'll leave that to you as an exercise. Generally, it's best practice not to duplicate stuff like this, but like I said, I will leave that to you as an exercise. You can refactor into a function if you want to with React, but I'm going to make it nice and explicit so that you see sort of what's going on here. All right. Boom. So deposit and withdrawal. Awesome. So anytime we change tabs, we see the balances. And now for each tab, we want to have a form. We want to have a form to actually make the deposit and a form to withdraw the amount. Okay. So I'll go ahead and create a form to make the deposit first. Okay. All right, so here's an example of a deposit form. Okay, we haven't wired this up yet. I just pasted in some basic HTML markup that says, here's a form. We can print the default behavior whenever it's submitted. We do on submit, all right? And we're just going to console log that for now. And it's just going to have one input that's going to have an on change handler that fires anytime the amount gets changed with the form. And then we have a submit button, okay? So I'll save that, look on the page. All right, it's got a little bit of an issue here. So it looks like I got a syntax error. That's okay. I'll just change this. Sorry, guys. All right. Boom. There's our form right there. So we can specify the deposit amount for Ether. And I can say 1. I click deposit. All right, so nothing happened. Let's look at the console. All right, we see that this was logged whenever the amount changed, and then form submitting. Okay, awesome. So now let's wire that up. The first thing we want to do is actually dispatch a Redux action anytime this gets changed. Now, I'm just going to do this with vanilla Redux. Okay, you could do this with another library like Redux Form. All right, so if you look at Redux Form, this is something I can point you to if you want to refactor and continue building this out on your own. So Redux Form allows you to work with forms in Redux. We're barely using any forms in this app, so I wanted to use vanilla Redux. I'll just link to this in the video resources so that you can check out Redux Form more if you want to. I've used this a lot on other projects, but I'm just going to show you sort of plain Jane vanilla Redux and how you can use that to manage the state of this form. All right. So let's do this. I'll say dispatch, and we'll create a new action called ether deposit amount changed, like this. Boom. All right, so we dispatch a Redux action, and it'll be ether deposit amount changed. So that's the ether deposit, and we say it's changing. All right, we want to stash that into Redux. And then whenever the form is submitted, we want to basically have, before I do that, let's go ahead and just create this. Ether deposit amount change. That's going to be a Redux action. So we'll create it. All right, so let's see here. We'll go to our actions file. At the very bottom, we'll basically say ether deposit amount changed. All right, boom, like this. ether deposit amount changed, passing the amount. Here's the type. All right. And then I will import this into the component. Let's see here. We'll do import ether balance changed from, let's see here, store actions. All right, let's check our, all right, so dispatch is not defined, ether deposit amount change is not defined. Oh, sorry, I want to do ether deposit amount. All right, that's what we want. All right, dispatch is not defined, that's okay. We'll define dispatch like this. We'll put it in our props. All right, there we go. So now we want to go to our reducer and handle ether balance changed. All right, or ether deposit amount changed, my fault. All right, so we'll go to our store, our reducer, and we'll do this right here. After the balances, we'll just say ether balance deposit amount changed. We'll update that amount in the state like this: ether deposit amount and then action.amount. All right. So let's see if that works. We'll say we want to deposit 10 ether. Let's go to our reducer, or sorry, our dev tools, and see, yeah, it's working. All right, it's changing from 1 to 10, from nothing. Yeah, there we go. Awesome, very cool. So now we can fetch that value out of the store when we want to submit the form. So I'll go back to this, and we'll create we need to create a selector for it first. So selectors. Let's see here. We're going to create ether deposit amount selector. All right. And then we want to say state, exchange ether deposit amount, and it'll be null if there's nothing there. And we'll create a selector like this. Okay, so we'll import this into our component. So say this. Ether deposit amount, we'll wire it up down here. We'll say ether deposit amount like this. All right. And then that should be enough to stick this into our form for the on submit. So we'll say ether deposit amount. We'll read that out of the props. Okay. I'll do it like this. So after dispatch, all right, I'll do this. Ether deposit amount. All right, boom. Now we want to actually deposit ether. So we'll create a new action or interaction, I should say, in our interactions file, say deposit ether. And we want to pass in a few arguments here. We'll say dispatch. We need the exchange. Web3 ether deposit amount, which we just imported, and then also the account. So there's a few things we need here. We got dispatch. We need the exchange. We need Web3. So let's go ahead and pull those in. We'll import the selectors, right? So we need actually, we need Web3. We need the account. We're going to need the token too, and the exchange. So we've got these. Let's just do this. All right, like this. So we got exchange selector, token selector, account selector, Web3 selector. All right, let's also import those down here at the very bottom. So we'll say account. All right, so actually I might have duplicated some of those. Let's see here. Web3. All right, so we got those. Web3, exchange, token, account. Same as here. We're Web3, exchange, token, account. All good. All right, and then we want to read those outside of here, Web3, token, exchange, account, and we have Web3, exchange, we don't need token yet, but we will in a second, and account. All right, and ether deposit amounts coming in, and also dispatch. All right, so let's check our browser. Probably got some issues. All right, ether deposit amount selector is not defined. All right, so probably need to import that as well. Selector, sorry guys. And then web 3 is not defined on line 68. All right, let's see here. So web 3. All right, so we don't want selectors here. Sorry, guys. All right, do that. And then deposit ether is not defined. Okay, so that's okay. We want to define deposit ether inside of store interactions. So we'll say deposit ether. I'm going to break this up into multiple lines. We're going to create some new functions inside of here. Deposit ether. All right, so store interactions. Let's create a new function to do that. All right. It's going to look just like our other functions where we interact with the smart contracts. We'll say export const deposit ether equals dispatch exchange web3 amount and account. So I'll say exchange methods deposit ether. All right, and then send from account. And we need to give some value, remember? So if you go to exchange.sol, this expects msg.value because it's payable. We did this in the test, so refer back to the video where we wrote smart contract tests and passed this in with some function metadata. We're going to do the same thing here. So say value equals web3.utils two-way. All right, we got to refer this to way and say amount, and then ether. So it's going to be the whole number, or it's going to be a larger number. It's going to be an ether amount, excuse me. And then we need to convert that ether amount to way. We pass that in here. All right. And then just like our other functions, right? We're going to say on transaction hash and on error. So boom, on transaction hash, you want to dispatch balances loading, right? We'll create this. And then we will, show an error if we have one. All right. So balance is loading. We'll go to the selectors. The actions. Let's do that. So balance is loading will look like this. Oh, we got that already. Actually, balance is loading and balance is loaded because that's what we did when we loaded the balances the first time. All right. Yeah. Awesome. So now let's update the store. Well, the store is going to be updated because we've got Redux already handled for us. So let's just see where we're at. Let's check our browser. So balance is loading. It's not defined. All right. We need to import it. All right. Boom. There we go. So let's try to actually deposit it and see what happens. ETH wallet exchange. Okay. Let's say, say 1 ether. Click deposit. Should see a MetaMask confirmation pop up. Well, no, we didn't. So this is a typo right here. So utils. My fault, guys. So refresh this. I'll say 1 ether. Click deposit. And I have a MetaMask confirmation pop up. And I want to confirm that I want to deposit 1 ether. Click confirm. All right. So it's loading. I expect this to happen, but I just saw my MetaMask confirmation pop up on my other screen that it worked. So we'll refresh this. And there we go. So let's do it one more time. Our balance is 95. We expect it to go down. So we'll say 1 should go to 94. Deposit. Click this confirmation. All right, refresh the page. And there we go, 94. And then exchange goes up. Now we want to subscribe to events to reload the page or reload the component anytime the state is changed. We want to update the state with, the event that was triggered whenever, the deposit is successful. So we can go to the interactions file. Let's just see here, interactions. And inside of this, subscribe to events function, we can subscribe to some more events. We're going to subscribe to the events that, deal with depositing. All right. I'm going to go ahead and do a deposit event. All right. Just like this. So anytime that happens, we're going to dispatch balance is loaded. All right. So whenever balance is loaded, it'll stop loading and it should refresh the page automatically. All right. So try it again. So Ether amount 1, deposit, MetaMask pops up. Boom, done. We can see our Ether balance change like that. Awesome. All right, so there we go. Awesome, perfect. So now I'll implement withdraw. We'll kind of do this a little bit backwards. While we're here looking at the events, we'll go ahead and subscribe to it. So I'll just say withdraw. We'll do a withdraw event. All right, we'll go ahead and withdraw Ether. In order to do that, inside of here, we'll go ahead and create the withdraw Ether function. It'll look a lot like deposit Ether, okay? And then boom. So it needs dispatch, exchange, Web3, amount, account. And we're going to do this pretty much just like deposit, except it's going to withdraw. So different function. We're still going to pass in the way amount, right? And then balance is loading will be finished. Okay. So we'll need to import that inside of selectors. Sorry, inside of the balance component. So let's say withdraw Ether. And we will call that from the form. Well, we need to create a new form for withdrawing Ether. So we'll do that like this. Inside the withdraw tab, inside this balance component, just below this table, we're actually going to create the withdrawal form, okay? So I'll do that like this. Boom. All right. So this will show a withdrawal form that will call that withdraw Ether function we just created. It'll pass in dispatch, exchange, Web3. We need Ether withdrawal amount, which we'll set with this, and the account. All right, so anytime the form changes, we're going to dispatch a Redux action for Ether withdrawal amount change, and we'll give it the target. Okay, so let's import this and put it in here first. Let's see here from actions. We'll go ahead and break this out into multiple lines. All right, let's go to actions. Inside of actions, we'll say Ether withdrawal amount changed. Just like we did Ether deposit amount changed. And we'll also change this. We'll create a selector. So we'll create a selector for Ether withdrawal amount. All right. Boom. All right. So now what we want to do is handle that in the Redux state. Down here in Ether deposit amount changed, we're just going to say Ether withdrawal amount changed. All right. So let's see where we're at. Let's go back to our component. All right. And I think we got most of what we need. Let's take form submitting out here. All right, withdraw Ether. We need this. So this will come from here. And we need to add that we need to add that to our map state to props function, but we need to do it here. So Ether withdrawal amount selector, and then say Ether. All right. So see where that gets us. We probably got some issues. Well, maybe not. Let's go withdraw. All right. So no major issues looks like now. Crazy. All right, let's see if it works. I'll be surprised if it works the first time, but I won't complain too much. Oh, also over here, look, our candlestick chart's working. It groups on 2 different hours. Awesome. So let's see here. All right. Let's just try this. Withdraw 1 ether. Withdraw. We see a MetaMask confirmation come up. I'll pull that on the screen. I'll click confirm. Awesome. There we go. We can see our balance has changed back to 94, 92. All right, so that gets our withdraw functionality taken care of. All right, so I'm going to refactor this a little bit. We can kind of see our deposits and withdrawals look a little inconsistent. We need to kind of move some of the stuff around. All right, so it looks like I've got a little inconsistent here. I believe the form needs to be below the table. All right, so I'll just do that like this. So yeah, we're going to take this form for depositing ether, move it outside this table. Sorry about that. All right, so it's going to go right here, okay? So basically, it's going to go right here. So just above this table, all right? I think that's consistent. Let's look at our other code. So here, another table, form, table. All right, cool, yeah. Let's go back to our page and look. Yeah, that looks better. So we got, yeah, there we go, awesome. So basically what this means is here you can deposit ether and withdraw ether, and then next we're going to create a form out here where you can deposit tokens and withdraw tokens, okay? All right, so let's do that. So I'll remind you that in order to deposit tokens, it's a two-step process. We have to approve the tokens first and then deposit them. Okay, we did that in the tests a lot, and we're going to do the same thing in the UI. So let's create all the infrastructure for the deposits and withdrawals kind of in one shot, and then we'll wire it up. Okay, so what we need to do is basically go to let's just do it from the actions perspective first. We'll say basically ether deposit amount changed and ether withdrawal amount changed. We'll say token deposit amount. So boom. So token deposit amount change and token withdrawal amount change. Those will be our two new actions. So we're going to withdraw tokens and deposit tokens. And we'll create selectors for those. Basically, we'll go to a selectors file and just create two new selectors like this. So, selectors. And say token deposit amount and token withdrawal amount. All right. So those will be inside of our state. And then we need to go to our reducers and create that in the token reducer. No, it'll be in the exchange reducer because we're putting it in the exchange. Okay, so let's go to the reducers file. And then basically we'll add it here below the ether deposit. All right. I'm going to kill some of this space. But token deposit amount change, ether deposit amount change. All right, just like that. Boom. So we've got the reducers, we've got the actions. I'm going to kill this dead space. Kill this dead space. All right, don't need that. Selectors, I think we have all the selectors we need. And then inside interactions, we want to create all the interactions we need. So remember I said depositing tokens is a two-step process, right? So basically what we'll do is create a single function to deposit the token like this. All right, so it's going to call two smart contract methods. So we need the exchange and the token. So first we'll approve the token, all right? And then we will, once that's finished, we'll deposit it like this, all right? And then whenever we get the transaction hash back, we'll say balances are not loading anymore. All right, and the amount's going to be Web3, utils, two-way, amount, ether. Okay, it's be amount in both cases. All right, and now we need an action to withdraw the token. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. Just like the ether, we just call the withdraw token function. Token, options, address, Web3, utils, two-way, amount, ether. All right. Okay, so we're getting pretty close. Those are all the interactions we need. And then inside of the component, we want to import a bunch of stuff. Let's go to balances. And let's make sure we have all the selectors imported properly, okay? So let's go inside of here and basically let's just reformat them. So here's all the selectors that we need. Import, boom. So we got exchange, token, account, Web3, ether balance, token balance, exchange, ether balance, exchange, token balance, balance is loading, ether deposit, ether withdrawal, token deposit, token withdrawal. Okay. So we got to make sure we got all the actions. So here's the final list of actions. We added token deposit amount changed and token withdrawal amount changed. And then we need to add all the final interactions. All right. So here's all the final interactions. So we add withdrawal token and withdrawal ether. All right. So now we will wire up our map dispatch to props function to include those two new selectors. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and kill this dead space. And now we will basically, wire up those last forms just like this. We'll first make sure we have all the, all the variables set up that we want to dig out of props. So inside of show form, we'll do this. Boom. So make sure we got token deposit amount, ether withdrawal amount, and token withdrawal amount. All right. And then we will create a form to deposit tokens and withdraw tokens. So down here, let's see. I'll go ahead and let's do deposit first. So here's deposit. Here's the form to deposit ether. Go ahead and do this. This will be the form to deposit tokens. It'll look like this. We'll basically just say, boom. So form, I'll get some space just so we can read this a little better. Deposit token is what we're going to do when the form submits. We just keep track of the deposit token amount in the Redux store whenever this changes. All right, so dispatch, exchange, Web3, token deposit amount, and account. Okay. And that's going to be a two-step process. It'll approve them, and then it'll deposit them into the exchange. We'll do the same thing for withdraws. All right, we'll basically create a new form for withdrawing tokens. We'll put it here as the last item, and then boom, withdraw. So that'll call the withdrawal token function we just created in interactions, and that'll pass in dispatch, exchange, Web3, token withdrawal amount, account, and it will store the amount in the Redux store whenever this field changes. All right, so that works just like the other ones. Now this is getting pretty big. It's a big file. It's a 230 line React component. It might make sense to refactor this into smaller components or even reuse some of these. I'll leave that to you as an exercise, but for now, I want you to clearly understand how this works so you can see everything all in place. There certainly is some duplication, but I'll let you all work on changing that as an exercise. All right. So I'll save this, go to the browser. You can see our new forms here. All right. Awesome. Let's try to actually deposit some tokens. So I'll do 100, hit deposit, and we'll see a MetaMask confirmation pop up. All right, so look, it says by approving this action, you grant permission for this account to spend up to 100 of your DApp. All right, so we know we're approving tokens. Let's confirm it. All right, so that worked. I get another confirmation message pop up that says, do you want to interact with this contract? Click confirm. And then boom, it worked. All right, we can see that our tokens were deposited. Boom, 450. Awesome. So let's withdraw them. We'll say, let's just do 300, withdraw. See a MetaMask confirmation pop up, and then boom. All right, withdrew. Perfect. Awesome. So it worked. That's how you deposit and withdraw funds from our exchange. We can deposit Ether, we can deposit tokens, we can withdraw Ether, and we can withdraw tokens. And with that being said, let's move on to the next video and use these funds to actually create orders on the exchange so that we can, have a fully working decentralized cryptocurrency exchange. So I'll catch you in that next video.